Right, so very warm welcome back. We're talking water security, and we're in Cedarwoods, which is just north of Johannesburg, Woodmead area, and we're talking water and the challenges that we're facing. But also, the Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs has put out a challenge to you at home. Instead of wondering what's happening, what on earth are you guys doing, he's asked you to provide what you think we could do, perhaps some solutions. What can we do together? It's quite clear that for us to succeed, we're going to have to do this together. So at Morning Live SABC, that's our Twitter handle. We'd love to hear your suggestions where we can improve, where we can save, where we can make our water situation better just by taking up some certain practices and changes in behavior. So please share those with us and we'll read them out on air and perhaps change the culture in the country. Well, let's go to our audience here now, get their questions, but you too as well at Morning Live SABC. That's where you can put your questions. And we're going to start at table 15 where we'll find Judith Taylor.
Good morning. Good morning, ministers. I'm with the South African Water Caucus and a core group member of Earth Life Africa. As part of the Water Caucus work, we do a lot of hands-on looking at what is happening. There is huge job potential if the infrastructure problems are addressed. In Meadowlands, a potable water pipe has been leaking not for 10 days, but for 10 years. I'm now told it's being investigated. We have sheets of sewage going down our rivers. Is there a really good plan to get people trained to take action on repairing and improving the infrastructure, to create those jobs which would make a huge difference to everybody in the country because it would cause positive economic growth? Thank you.
Okay, so a couple of questions there. Do you want to respond?
The answer, ma'am, is yes. There is a plan. It still needs to be expanded. And the examples that you give are the examples that we want to receive more readily. And one of the things we need to do in South Africa is get many municipalities to have these complaint management systems and reporting systems by citizens where you can take a photograph with your cell phone, send in that photograph and the location of the particular problem, which, for example, 2 days ago happened in a particular part of Pretoria. But it did take that municipality, 24 hours before they could actually fix a leak that resulted in tens of liters, if not hundreds of liters of water being wasted. So I think if we get that interaction right between reporting a problem, and from our point of view as COCTA, we have this campaign on back to basics. We have teams of people that are monitoring all 278 municipalities nationally. By early next year, we'll be more in touch with the day-to-day problems in these municipalities. And secondly, in collaboration with other parts of government, we will deploy engineers and technicians, and where need be partner with the private sector to begin to attend to some of these problems. But as I said earlier, and what my colleague has been saying as well, it's about local leadership and the quality of local leadership. Yeah. If you care about a river remaining clean, then you'll solve the leakage of sewage problem. But businesses also have to play an important role. Machapeng, Welcome recently, where an abattoir was allegedly allowing blood from slaughtered animals to get into a river. Now, there are many examples like that, where businesses are negligent. And again, we require the cooperation of everyone concerned so that those sorts of negative practices are cured. The third issue is deliberate sabotage of water infrastructure, water pumps being stolen, electrical wires being sabotaged, so that friends can actually supply water through water tankers and get paid 1.3 million rands a week or something like that. Now, let's be frank, that's the kind of society we're becoming, right? Where we damage infrastructure that is invested in from public funds in order that somebody's friend can get a contract to deliver water by water tankers. That's nonsense. And that's where we as a society need to stand up, look at who around us is engaging in this kind of practice, and tell them to put a stop to it, because we're damaging ourselves at the end of the day.
Okay.
Can I
Yes,
make a proposal? There's a lady called Matlakala here. She knows why I'm going to point her. Upon us concluding this program, she will then travel with you, Judith, to Meadowlands. Let's go on site there. We will get the ward councillor there and talk to the MMC responsible for infrastructure in Johannesburg. She knows what her sin is, so that's the price she will pay. But thanks for raising it so that then viewers can see that where things are being raised, we'll be able to make a follow-up. We intend to have a national coordinating call center, but what is important is the efficiency of the ward councillor, the ward committee, a community development worker, and the municipality in terms of the turnaround time with regard to complaints. Thank you.
This local leadership keeps coming up. And I'm not sure whether it's intransigence or is it a lack of skills, a combination of both. How do we fix this, Minister? How do we get the right people and get them working?
We must be careful, and perhaps I must be careful, not to generalize, but there's some excellent leaders that are providing very good examples. For example, Steve Tshwete Municipality in Mpumalanga.
Is it because of this lady?
And several... Are the Tshwetes related? And so like that, there are 50 or 60 leaders in the country who are providing excellent examples of what are the right things to do. And one of the key pillars of the Back to Basics program is about putting people first. It's about making sure that we really do behave, whether we're in political office or administrative office, as public servants. We're here to serve the public, not the public to serve us. And to then ensure that we listen carefully. And the key is, as my colleague is saying, response time. So if you receive a complaint at midday, can you make sure that by 4 in the afternoon, if it is at all possible, somebody has been there, they've inspected the problem, they know what the solution is, and provide the solution ideally if you can. And if you can't, inform people in that area as to when are you going to do it. But prevent the loss of water in the meantime, if you could provide some temporary band-aid as well. And that's the kind of mindset that we actually want to create.
Okay. Richard Holden is at table 22. Richard Holden, if you could stand up, we'll get a microphone to you.
Yes, good morning, Minister. So I just want to ask how we're going to guarantee water security in the Vaal River system when we've got problems that Eskom cannot pump from the Tugela because they don't have spare capacity in the coal-fired power stations. We have acid mine drainage, which is polluting the system, and we are releasing water from the Vaal Dam to dilute. And we're also releasing water into the Caledon River system to help people in the southern Free State, but they're not actually paying for it, so the users in the Vaal River system are paying for it. Now, all of that, you look at the Department of Water and Sanitation's reconciliation strategies, is not supposed to be happening. We're facing a fairly dire water shortage if it's not rectified. So what are we going to do to ensure that this is rectified as soon as possible?
Yes, I think it will be incorrect to leave an impression that there is no intervention on the acid mine drainage. We've made emergency and short-term interventions. There's construction that is taking place in the eastern basin of the Witwatersrand. We have actually kept the spillages in terms of acid mine water. We finalizing the appointment of one of our own institutions in South Africa that is now going to implement, because we are quite clear that we've got the means now of implementing a long-term intervention. On the other issues that harm the Vaal River system, again, it goes back to the issues that we have raised. But what is important, Peter, is that having learned from the situation in Hartebeespoort Dam, we came to realize that there's no point of us sorting out the problem in the Vaal River system when upstream there is no intervention. And hence the work that we are doing, working together with local government in ensuring that those spillages that end up in our dams and in our systems are attended to in terms of municipal wastewater treatment plants, the infrastructure, that the piping and all those things that are there. And it's no longer even about a plan, it's the interventions. And I've cited the story of Madibeng. We've gone into Madibeng, and Madibeng is a case in point. The hiccups in Madibeng have to do with the issues of water tankering and so forth. But once we can turn out all those municipalities that are actually linked to the Hartebeespoort Dam system, then Hartebees will be clean. So it's that we've become cleverer because of our own understanding. You can pour many solutions onto a system. If you don't sort out the upstream, you'll not be able to deal with that. And hence the success of cooperative governance. Us, as a department that deals with the issues of generation of source and those that are dealing with reticulation and operations and maintenance. And that is what we definitely have to appreciate, that there are such interventions that are already taking place. We must treasure the Vaal River system because of its strategic location. This is a system that actually stores the capacity that we get from Lesotho, but also for the future, that is also going to transfer into the northwest and into the borders of, outside the borders of South Africa, working with Botswana, because amongst other things that is important is that we must, as South Africa, ensure that our own systems don't contaminate systems that may also affect not only us, but even our own neighbors. And hence, stewardship is quite important as to how we deal with those issues. Thanks.
All right. Deputy Minister, one issue that I think often doesn't get enough public attention is the danger of waterborne diseases. You know, if we have challenged infrastructure, leaks, poor sanitation, this can become a problem. Is this something that you're monitoring, and how far are we in making sure that we're safe from waterborne diseases?
Yeah, waterborne diseases, you are asking a nurse. I'm a nurse by profession.
Right.
Waterborne diseases are sometimes caused by pollution of water. People drinking, dirty water or grey water. And we are saying waterborne diseases can be avoided by making sure that if you train people in the communities, if you train people themselves, that they should not pollute water. And in the cases, we are lucky in South Africa, we never had, diseases that are found in other African countries, because South Africa is very smart in making sure that Department of Health, that we don't get such diseases. Waterborne diseases, again, they need us to educate our people, our children. It's hygiene, simple hygiene. When you coming from toilet, wash your hands. Before you touch food, wash your hands. So that can be avoided, waterborne diseases. And I want to make a point, Peter, that ourselves, with municipality, with rainwater, those kids that I was talking about are actually going to do that. Teach people, they will go house to house and talk about diseases like waterborne. And we don't say that will be finished, but also Department of Health must also assist in making sure that in the hospitals, people must make sure that everything that is done in hospital is clean, the environment is clean, and everything is clean. But what I'm trying to say, Peter, yes, we have interventions that are being made by our department to make sure that we don't get such diseases in South Africa.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, but after that, Minister, I'm just going to give you a heads up so you can help us. The eradication of bucket systems, how far are we with that? We'll come back after the break and get a response to that. Stay with us.